Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I welcome everyone in the audience here for this historic committee vote. Mr. Chairman, Judge Jackson withstood more than 18 hours of questioning during her nomination hearing. Most members asked her questions about her experience, record, and methodology for deciding cases. But some members took statements she had said or written out of context and tried to smear Judge Jackson with unfair and ugly accusations. As Senator Booker so aptly described it, Judge Jackson showed grit and grace through the entire hearing. She never returned these personal attacks. She gave substantive answers when it was possible and when senators gave her the opportunity to do so. And she corrected the attempts to distort and malign her record patiently and repeatedly. To highlight the misguided attacks around the sentencing of child pornography cases, I questioned Judge Jackson about the history of the sentencing guidelines for these crimes and the concerns that these guidelines do not reflect what's happening with child pornography offenses. And these facts bear repeating. A decade ago, the U.S. Sentencing Commission first addressed the issue of sentencing in this area. And even back then, only 40% of convicted offenders were receiving sentences within the guidelines. This was over 10 years ago. Now, 10 years later, even fewer offenders are receiving sentences within the guidelines. In 2019, just 30% of non-production offenders were sentenced within the guidelines. In the D.C. Circuit, where Judge Jackson served, the average goes down to just 20% of offenders. This puts Judge Jackson well within the mainstream. She is not an outlier. I named, and others on our side of the aisle, named numerous other judges nominated by President Trump and supported by the Republicans on this committee who have also sentenced offenders to sentences well below the guidelines. These judges also expressed concern about how the sentencing guidelines do not reflect the circumstances in the child pornography cases today. And this is not just a concern of the U.S. Sentencing Commission and the judges who must sentence criminal defendants. In 2013, just 1 year after the original U.S. Sentencing Commission report on this matter, the U.S. Department of Justice, who prosecutes these cases, stated that the guidelines for child pornography offenses do not accurately reflect the current landscape of child pornography conduct. Judge Jackson is a mainstream judge. She has issued decisions and sentences similar to other judges across this nation, regardless of which political party nominated that judge to the bench. And I just want to mention, you know, we have said many times that Judge Jackson is in the mainstream. And I want to mention a nominee who has been brought up by Republicans as someone we should have supported. I take it because she was Black. And this person, again, her name was brought up several times by Republican colleagues today, Janice Rogers Brown, a Black nominee. And apparently it was for the proposition that the Democrats had a chance to support this judge because she's Black, because they seem to be making the argument that that's why we Democrats are supporting Judge Jackson, not because Judge Jackson is so eminently qualified. I looked up some things that Janice Rogers Brown noted, and she gave a speech in the early 2000s when Democrats opposed her nomination, and it was because of her extreme ideology, because she wasn't in the mainstream. For example, in this speech that I'm referring to, before the Federalist Society, she railed against the role of government, claiming that government results in war in the streets, this is direct quoting, and families under siege, among other, I would say rather incendiary and extremist views. It was this extreme ideology that led to widespread opposition to Janice Rogers Brown's nomination to the D.C. Circuit, including from the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, the Leadership Conference, and others. So the relentless, unfounded, and trumped-up attacks that Judge Jackson has faced, despite her exceptional qualifications, is nothing but a ruse, a campaign to give Republicans cover for voting against such an historic nominee because she is so highly qualified. I would like to refocus on what an exceptional and historic nominee Judge Jackson is. She has more judicial experience than 4 of the current justices had combined when they joined the court. She has broad support from across the political spectrum, including from prominent conservatives, federal judges appointed by Republican presidents, former Republican officials, and a bipartisan group of 86 former state attorneys general. Organizations from across the political spectrum and covering a wide range of issues support her, from the Black and Hispanic U.S. Chambers of Commerce and the National Education Association to the Fraternal Order of Police, the largest police union. She has been widely praised as being eminently qualified and having the intellect, the integrity, and the temperament befitting an Associate Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. It was also noted that the American Bar Association, when they testified that they had reached out to 2,800 judges and lawyers from all 50 states, all federal circuits, and all federal judicial districts, state Supreme Court justices, and law school deans, and every one of them uniformly had the highest praise for Judge Jackson. So the ABA Standing Committee gave Judge Jackson a unanimous. They don't often give someone unanimous, but they unanimously deemed Judge Jackson to be well qualified. And we all know about the methodology that she uses, because this constant request for what is your judicial philosophy, as though that is some sort of a North Star. Judicial philosophy is a tool. Her methodology enables her to come up with decisions that are fair and objective. And I don't know what else we would want of a justice of the Supreme Court. I just wanted to share, lastly, a comment I received about Judge Jackson's hearing when her hearing concluded. During her nomination hearing, I asked Judge Jackson the same 2 questions on sexual assault and harassment that I ask of all nominees. In follow-up questioning, I named judges who had committed such misconduct and asked Judge Jackson what she does to ensure her court is a safe and inclusive place to work. After Judge Jackson's hearing concluded, a woman who had clerked for one of the judges I named as committing this kind of offense reached out to me. And during her clerkship, this young woman endured extreme and pervasive sexual harassment. She came forward publicly about this judge's conduct and experiences she described as harrowing ordeals. And this woman went on to clerk for Judge Jackson. And in Judge Jackson's court, she said she was treated like a valued and talented employee who could make meaningful contributions to the law. And in fact, she credits Judge Jackson for her remaining as a lawyer. Mr. Chairman, thank you for letting me go over a little bit. This is the kind of human being, highly qualified person that we need on the United States Supreme Court. I am privileged to support her. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.